Hey, my beautiful people. How are you today? Hope you're doing good. Welcome to another episode of This Feels Personal, the podcast where we talk about growth, healing, and the messy in between. I'm your host, Ashley Guy, serving you truth, side-eye, and unsolicited advice. In this episode, we're talking boundaries. I mean, sometimes you just gotta be straightforward. You don't need to sugarcoat it. You need to just let them know. Boundaries aren't a suggestion. It isn't optional. It's a property line. So, if you want to talk about it, let's be about it. Let's get to it. Oh man, this topic is a doozy. Let's use our words, as I tell my toddler son. We grow up thinking that boundaries, when you first learn about them, they have to be nice and polite and soft. And if you chose to be direct or firm, then you were being a jerk. But here's the reality. Boundaries don't have to come wrapped in an apology and a bow. You can say, I'm not feeling the way you talking to me, so I'm going to just walk away and choose not to engage. You can say, you know what? I can't be available to deal with this. I don't have the capacity. Sorry. Or you can simply say, stop playing with me. Yeah, I said what I said. Stop playing with me. It's assertive. And quite honestly, it's liberating. I love to give biblical perspective. So let's get into that, because why not? I mean, yes. Proverbs 4:23 says, above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it. Guarding your heart sometimes looks like walking away or saying no. And you can do so loudly and without shame. So, let's get personal. I used to co-lead a networking group where I work, before the DEI bans and all that. It was for Black excellence. And unfortunately, I had to deal with some unwarranted stereotype nonsense. So the other lead, because I said I was co-lead, so that means there's two. He decided to throw me into the bucket of ghetto Black girl with an attitude. And no, this wasn't subtle or warranted for that matter. This was labeling and microaggressions during meetings. And I could have just, I could have shrugged it off, put my head down, pushed through it, and just hope and pray that it would change or go away. But that's not who I am, especially now that your girl got, a smidget of confidence in her corporate America world. So since I don't operate like that, I scheduled a meeting. And I want to say it was called a Stop Playing With Me meeting. So we met, just me and him, in a conference room. I laid out who I was. I laid out what I felt I brought to the table. And I laid out how I wouldn't be talked to. I wanted him to know exactly how I expected to be treated. There was no apologies. There was no sugarcoating. It was straight clarity. When you set a boundary like that, especially with someone you don't know that well, it can be scary. It's probably even more scary when you know the person. Yes, you are putting yourself out there. Yes, you're vulnerable. But it's establishing who you are, and who you are is not up for debate. So, after the meeting, the dynamic changed. I was respected, and the networking group flourished. Moral of the story, sometimes boundaries aren't just personal, they're professional. And they can certainly change how people see you for the better, of course. Okay, it's Reddit time. I was scrolling through Am I the Asshole? Y'all know the one. Well, my true Reddit people know the one. And I found a thread. Am I the asshole for cutting someone off? And Lord, those top answers was not kumbaya. They were real. Nope, you're not the asshole. You set a boundary. They don't like it. That's on them. And I couldn't agree more. So here's the thing. People will try to make boundaries about them, which I guess is natural, maybe. But to counter, boundaries are not punishments. They're declarations. They're statements of self-respect. And my timeline on the socials is, and I don't know, my For You page is a lot of people saying no to things. Articles of assertiveness is popping up everywhere. And I think the key takeaway from that, the fact that people are starting to become comfortable with no, is that people are finally starting to understand that saying no doesn't make you selfish. Saying no means that you value your time, mental health, and energy enough to protect it. So maybe, stop playing with me is more than that friend that keeps texting you at 2 a.m. Maybe it's your job. Maybe it's your family. Maybe it's your social obligations. And maybe it's about yourself. There are people in the world that just do not get, the subtle hints of this is my boundary. And that's what I'm trying to push in this episode, is that sometimes you have to be more assertive. And in order for you to be more assertive, you have to know exactly how you want to be treated, what's acceptable, what's not acceptable, and stand 10 toes down on business. Only reason that someone can talk to you a certain way, come out their neck sideways, is because you allow it. And I guess for me, I feel like I can't get mad for things that I allow to happen. I can't get mad for that friend calling me out my name, even if it's in a loving manner, if I didn't correct them when they did it, especially if they did it more than once. I can't get mad when people show up unannounced, especially when I didn't inform them that I don't like that. My friends, my true friends that's in my inner circle, they know, don't come to my house unexpected. You need to call and ask if I'm available for visitors. And typically, most of them know that I prefer 24 hours notice, but you need to at least give me a couple of hours notice. Like, if it's pressing and you really need to see me, I'm not going to tell you no. But I do want time to get myself together, to get the house together, to get my thoughts together before I allow somebody else's energy to enter my home. Because my home is my peace. That's my sanctuary. And unless you are of Marcus and Eli and Ashley's bloodline, that's it, because I don't have no more kids, then I have set an expectation and a boundary of you. I don't do pop-ups. Now, if you, like, I have a neighbor that lives across the street. Hey, Ashley girl. I don't mind her coming over to drop off stuff, especially when it's stuff for Eli and stuff like that. But I have an understanding with her. Like, typically, she don't even come in the house unless I offer. And vice versa. I try not to just pop up on them either. But it's just, we have set boundaries for each other and we respect them. And if you can't respect the boundaries I set, that property line for what I'm okay with and what I'm not okay with, then we need to reevaluate our relationship. Because you should love me enough to respect those things. And if you don't love me enough for that, then maybe we're not really friends. Maybe you're more of an associate, which is fine too. I was having a conversation with one of my friends, and we were discussing how everybody has a place in your life. He was telling me how one friend, he can talk business stuff all day. Another friend, he can talk about any and everything. But he's not going to call the business friend to discuss personal life stuff, because that vibe, it just isn't there for that friend. So you have to know your purpose for your friends, because not every friend is going to be, oh, I can talk to them about any and everything. It's not, because sometimes the conversations will turn awkward because they don't know how to respond. But you don't want to end a relationship because it's not really on them that they don't know how to answer. But that's just natural. That don't make them any less of a friend. Like, my friends know I don't always have the right thing to say. And sometimes I just want to sit in the house with you so I know you're okay. We don't have to talk about nothing. We can watch anime. We can watch our crime documentaries. And I'm cool. Just being in your presence, knowing you're okay. We don't have to have a deep conversation about what's going on. Hell, for me, if something's going on with me, I can just be like, I just need to get away. And just lay on your couch and go to sleep. And I'm okay with that. And my real friends are okay with that too. So it's knowing what is acceptable and what isn't acceptable with each relationship in your life. And that can be, like I stated, a work relationship, romantic relationship, friendships, all the ships currently sailing in your ocean. You need to be able to dictate what you're okay with and what you're not okay with, and stand 10 toes down in that. Because, like I said, sometimes you just got to say, stop playing with me. So, in wrapping up this episode, I want to remind you that stop playing with me is indeed a boundary. You don't owe anyone an explanation, because it is your life, your rules. So if this episode resonated with you, please, tag me in a post, hashtag stop playing with me. Share this with the friend group. Share this with family who isn't getting the hint. Take this with you in the back of your head at work if you feel the need to set some people straight. Drink your water. Take a walk outside. Write in your journal, asking yourself, what is my stop playing with me boundary? What does that look like? That's not for me to know. That's for you to know. Until next time, my friends. Can't wait to talk to you next episode. Bye.